Hello, friends. There's a brand new Social Security rule right now that has folks completely divided. Some say it's great news, others say it could quietly cost you thousands, and honestly, even the experts can't seem to agree on what it really means for you. If you're receiving benefits or planning to file soon, this is something you cannot afford to misunderstand. I'm John, and this is John Retires, the place where we break down Social Security, SSI, Medicare, retirement, and government benefit updates in plain English. No confusing jargon, no runaround. Before we dive in, drop a comment and tell me what state you're watching from today. I love seeing where this community is tuning in from. Now here's the thing, buried inside, this rule is a little known exception that could determine whether you gain money or lose it, and most seniors have no idea it even exists. Stick around till the end, because I'm going to walk you through it step by step so nothing gets missed. And if you find this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update again. Hello friends, let's get right into it, because I don't want you missing a single detail here. Every single day, my inbox fills up with messages from people just like you, wondering why nobody can agree on what this new Social Security rule actually means. Some folks in the comments say it's the best thing that's happened to retirees in years. Others say it's confusing, poorly explained, and could end up hurting the very people it's supposed to help. And when even financial advisors, retirement counselors, and people who've worked at the Social Security Administration can't give you a straight answer, that tells you something important. This is not a simple update, and it deserves your full attention. So let's slow down and walk through this together, step by step, the way I always do here on John Retires. No jargon, no talking down to you, just plain English explanations, so you can walk away from this video actually understanding what's changing and what it means for your own benefits. Here's where the confusion really starts. Social Security rules rarely change all at once. Usually, updates roll out in phases, get clarified later, and then get reinterpreted again as more guidance comes out from the agency. That's exactly what's happening right now. A new rule has been introduced, but the way it's being explained on different websites and different Facebook groups and even by different Social Security representatives on the phone is not consistent. One person calls and gets told one thing. Their neighbor calls the very next day and gets told something completely different. That's not because anyone is trying to mislead you. It's because these rules are detailed. They have exceptions built into them, and unless you know exactly which category you fall into, you could easily misunderstand how it applies to your situation. That's why I want to be very clear about something right up front. What you're about to hear is meant to help you understand the moving pieces, the language being used, and the kinds of questions you should be asking. It is not a replacement for checking your own personal statement directly through your My Social Security account, or speaking with a representative about your specific numbers. I always encourage that, because your work history, your filing age, your marital status, and even the state you live in can all shift how a rule like this actually plays out for you personally. With that said, let's talk about what's really going on. The first thing you need to understand is why rules like this tend to divide people so much. Social Security touches almost every part of a retiree's life. It's not just a monthly check. For millions of Americans, it's the difference between paying the electric bill or not, between affording medication or skipping doses, between staying in the home they've lived in for decades or having to make a painful change. So when a new rule comes out, even a small technical adjustment can feel enormous, because for many seniors, there's very little room for error. A shift of even $100 a month can be the difference between comfortable and stressful. That emotional weight is part of why people react so strongly and why opinions online can feel like they're all over the map. The second reason for the disagreement is timing. New rules often get announced before all of the details are finalized. Agencies release a general framework, and then over the following weeks or months, additional clarifications come out addressing specific situations, special exceptions, and transition periods for people who are already receiving benefits versus those who haven't filed yet. If you only saw the first announcement, you might have an incomplete picture. If you saw a later clarification, you might have a different impression than someone who's been following it from day one. That's exactly why so many people are debating the same rule, but seem to be talking about completely different things. Now here's where I want you to really lean in, because this is the part most seniors overlook. Whenever a new rule rolls out, there's almost always a specific detail buried inside it, something that determines whether you benefit from the change, or whether you're left in exactly the same position as before. It might be a qualification requirement based on your birth year. It might be tied to whether you're already collecting benefits or still waiting to file. It might depend on your income level, your work status, or whether you're receiving benefits based on your own record or a spouse's record. These details rarely make headlines, but they're exactly the kind of thing that decides whether this rule helps you or quietly passes you by. I want you to think about it like this. Imagine two neighbors, both retired, both around the same age, both receiving Social Security. On the surface, their situations look almost identical, but because of one small difference, Maybe one of them worked a few years longer, or one of them filed at a slightly different age. The exact same rule change could affect them in two completely different ways. One of them might see a noticeable increase in their monthly benefit. The other might see no change at all, or in some cases, could even need to adjust their expectations moving forward. That's the reality of how these updates work. They are almost never one size fits all, and assuming your situation matches your neighbors, your siblings, or a stranger's comment online is one of the most common and costly mistakes I see people make. This is also where scams and misinformation tend to creep in. Whenever there's confusion around a benefit change, you'll start seeing messages, emails, and even phone calls from people claiming they can help you get your money faster, get you approved for a bigger check, or unlock some secret bonus tied to the new rule. I want to be very direct with you here. Social Security does not require you to pay anyone to access benefits you're entitled to. If you ever get a call, text, or email pressuring you to act quickly, pay a fee, or share personal information to secure a benefit, that is a major red flag. Real updates come through official Social Security communications, your online account, or by contacting the agency directly. Please protect yourself and the people you care about by staying cautious during times like this, because scammers know confusion creates opportunity, and unfortunately, seniors are often targeted the hardest. So let's bring this back to something practical, because I don't want you leaving this video with more questions than answers. The best thing you can do right now is get familiar with your own numbers, log into your My Social Security account, if you haven't already, and take a look at your current benefit estimate, your earnings record, and your full retirement age. Having that information in front of you makes it so much easier to understand how any new rule might apply to your specific situation, instead of trying to guess based on general information you saw online or heard from a friend. It also puts you in a much stronger position if you do decide to call the Social Security Administration directly, because you can ask specific, informed questions instead of vague ones that might get you a vague answer. I also want to gently remind you that timing matters more than people realize. Some rule changes apply immediately. Others apply only to future filers. Some include a transition period for people already receiving benefits, while others require you to take a specific action within a certain window in order to qualify. Missing a deadline, even by a few weeks, can sometimes mean missing out entirely, or having to wait an entire year before the next opportunity comes around. This is exactly why I keep saying, don't rely on secondhand information alone. Confirm your own situation directly, and don't wait until the last minute to do it. Now, I know some of you watching are already receiving benefits, and you might be wondering whether this affects you at all, or whether it's mainly aimed at people who haven't filed yet. That is one of the most common questions I get, and it's a fair one. Rule changes can apply differently depending on where you are in the process. Some updates are designed specifically for future retirees to help with long-term planning. Others are aimed at current beneficiaries, adjusting how their existing benefits are calculated moving forward. And in some cases, a rule might apply to both groups, but in noticeably different ways. That's part of why blanket statements you see online, the kind that say something like, "Everyone will get more money now," can be misleading. It's rarely that simple, and I never want you walking away from one of my videos thinking something applies to you when it might not, or missing out because you assumed it didn't. I also want to address something I hear constantly in the comments, which is frustration. Frustration that these systems feel complicated on purpose, frustration that clear answers are hard to come by, and frustration that after paying into this system for decades, understanding your own benefits still feels like a full-time job. I hear you, and I want you to know that frustration is completely valid. But I also want to remind you that you're not alone in figuring this out, and that's exactly why this channel exists. Every single week, we break down these updates together, translate the confusing language into something you can actually use, and make sure you're not left guessing about decisions that affect your financial security. So here's what I want you to do. Stay with me, because in the next part of this video, we're going to go through exactly how to check where you personally stand, what questions to ask if you call Social Security directly, and the specific warning signs that tell you whether this rule is something you need to act on now or something you can simply keep an eye on going forward. This is the part where everything comes together, so please don't click away just yet, because the details ahead could genuinely make a difference in your monthly income. Before we continue, if you're finding this helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more seniors who need the same information. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications, because Social Security rules continue to shift, and I want you to be among the first to know, not the last. All right, let's keep going, because the next part is where this all starts to make real sense.